on, everybody? It is your boy Yooper here coming at you guys with another rendition of the Veriphy Podcast. So today I am joined with cmoore of 07 Esports. And so, just hopefully everything's working production-wise. So welcome cmoore. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Yooper. It feels good to be here, and it feels like an honor to get this opportunity to not only introduce myself to the community, but to also implement our brand, our organization, and also my personal kind of things too, to kind of enlighten things about too. So yeah, appreciate you, Yooper.
Yeah, no, anytime, man. Definitely. I was just explaining to cmoore. Basically, this is not necessarily a podcast in the traditional sense. It's more like a interview show, whatever, kind of just laid back, just chill vibes, just hanging out, doing our things. Unfortunately, no webcam for cmoore today. Just we tried getting it going with Video Ninja, and just for some reason, Video Ninja just hates mobile with a burning passion. Like, that's kind of why. And Rocky isn't here today either. Unfortunately, homie, at one of his jobs, because he works two of them. He normally has Sundays off, but they called him in, and yeah, they were supposed to tell him on Friday so he could be here, but you know how managers are. They're like, oh, can you come in an hour before, start time? Whatever. So yeah, it's just gonna be cmoore and I hanging out, vibing. We got a pretty good itinerary. I actually am a little bit more prepared for today. So we're gonna be probably talking a lot of shop about BO7 in particular, but no, I'm Yooper. I'm the owner of Veriphy Gaming, as you guys probably don't know or do know, whatever the case may be. But yes, just real quick, cmoore, if you want to go ahead and take it, just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do for 07, and just a little bit about 07 Esports in general for anybody that's listening or watching on YouTube, because we do post this on YouTube. So yeah, tell us a little about yourself and your organization, just real quick.
Heck yeah. Hi, my name is cmoore. A lot of people know me as Chris or Christian. Those are my legal names. I'm okay with saying that out loud.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm actually just the co-owner of our 07 Esports organization. My first off started with Synergy Esports, which a lot of people might know beforehand. That's where I originated my kind of route from. But then I got over and basically implemented myself into a more significant role in regards to what I offer and what I can imply. Just working with Rallo, for instance, he's the actual owner of 07, and you got Zelix, which is a co-founder. Those two are the ones that started everything from the original idea of the tribe into 4DS and things like that. So it just came about to where it was an organization founded upon, military instances, because Rallo is a veteran that just recently retired. So we have the standpoint of, the saluting, kind of the foregrounds of the community side of things, and what that means to everyone, is different. But to us, it just means everything, because we're small. We want to grow the small community. We want to grow inside the leagues and potentially get into, the bigger scenes. But that's more to come later down the road.
Yeah.
But our main focus, of course, is our players. And that's my main focus too, to be able to develop players into stronger people within the community. What I mean by that is allowing us to be a forefront for said player to be able to grow within himself and also within the org.
Yeah.
But then to be able to have that opportunity to go join a big org, or, kind of be the stepping stone to that next step for them. It's kind of the way I think of it. We'll always be amateurs, but at the end of the day, if we can get someone to go pro or go big, then hey, that's our goal. But yeah, what I pretty much do is I am more of a co-owner, so I allocate funds and whatnot, or bring my financial side of it to the team. We offer things in regards to packages that we're starting to implement a little bit. But I'll let Yooper kind of have it back. I feel like I touched on it a little bit more than I probably should have.
No, that is perfectly okay. I mean, like, that's kind of what this is all about, like it's kind of a way to showcase other people in the community and, have a little conversation. So yeah, go off, King.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I hear you on the stepping stone part. Oh yes, don't worry. No, there's plenty of time for that. But I hear you on the whole stepping stone thing though, just because that's kind of how I look at it with Veriphy. Like when it comes to Veriphy, my ultimate hope and goal is that one of these days, because we're always going to be, an amateur organization. We're never going to be, and obviously you can never say never, just because, people can just blow up randomly at any given point in time. But, I've always foresee us being that smaller, or like just an amateur organization, because obviously franchising for COD. But if I can say, hey, one person, like if I could be like Team War, because like Team War and now Omit starting to get there as well, where it's just, you could say that there's people that start like that was in your organization and they ended up getting picked up by a major org or a CDL brand, but it's like they kind of got their foothold in your org. It's kind of like a little, feather in the cap, which is pretty dope. So I can't really be hating on that too much, but real quick though, we are going to talk about, basically just want to shout out Veriphy specifically, our not really sponsors yet, hopefully, maybe one of these days, low key, real talk. Anybody wants to chat, DM me, I'm totally for it. But we have 3 companies that we do stuff with. So we have Rogue Energy, tried and true, been a part of the brand since the beginning of Veriphy, really. I think Rogue Energy actually started out in like 2016, early 2017, and Veriphy started in 2018, of like August 2018. So we've had a code with them for a long time. Haven't been able to really do much other than that, but I'm hoping as time goes on and the more we grow, we can kind of I can strong arm Zach, because that's the owner. Maybe, who knows, in a very respectful way. But I just want to shout out Rogue Energy. Obviously, if you go to rogueenergy.com and use code VERIPHY, VERIPHY, you get 10% off your purchase. So every sale helps out the brand. So obviously, if you guys are looking for something like different, because obviously there's so many different companies out there like Dubby, Glitch, G Fuel. So obviously the space is really dominated by a bunch of different energy drink companies. So one of the cool things, fun fact, starter kits with Rogue. If you use our code, it's almost always exclusively, unless you're like overseas or in Hawaii or some shit. If you use our code in the 10%, it usually covers your shipping. So it's like less than $20. So pretty good stuff. So can't really complain. So rogueenergy.com, and it's Veriphy for 10% off. Also, shout out to the homies at Ink3D. If you guys aren't familiar with them, they're a 3D printing company. They go ahead and do all the things, and they, like, right now we have a light box through them. They just got some hype chains going. So if you guys check out our link tree, which is going to be on our Twitter or other socials, if you use code Veriphy, you can also get 10% off there as well. But no, they're a really cool company. Definitely, they're the newest addition to the Veriphy suite of affiliates. But then lastly, we have Exclaim. If you guys aren't familiar, our brand, like jerseys, mugs, shot glasses, all that stuff is through Exclaim. So shout out to that company. So they're an online, well, they have a physical storefront, but all of our merch and all of our stuff is through Exclaim. So if you guys want to check them out, like I said, in the link tree, they'll be in the description of the video on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, what's up? This is going to be live tomorrow on YouTube. But also, too, just check out their stuff. One of these days, I'm going to put like a link on the actual screen. Maybe just makes things a lot easier. But yeah, I just want to shout those guys out. But yeah, so, and then also too, if real quick, before we get too into the nitty gritty, if you are a brand owner or ambassador of a brand, or if you are an owner or a co-owner, manager, whatever, of a gaming organization, and you want to come on to the podcast, we do have it every Sunday, unless both Rocky and myself are not available, because we're kind of the hosts of it. If you're interested in hopping on, like what cmoore doing today, obviously DM me, or DM the team Twitter, however you want to get a hold of us. But we're looking for people to come on down and give a chance to talk about yourself, talk about your brand, your organization, and kind of just have a chill conversation. Sometimes we might take the whole hour. Otherwise, we try to shoot in between 30 minutes and an hour for how long this goes for. So yeah, just let me know. Totally down to have anybody on board. So but yeah, other than that, kind of just get into the nitty gritty of the fun stuff, how are you liking BO7, Seymour?
Well, as an old person myself, it's not as fun as all these young kids are just completely dominating me right now.
These
but
young
at the
bucks.
same time, it's. But no, besides the point, I mean, it's nice to get a new, fresh look at a bunch of things. Like, it's nice to bring back a couple of OG maps like Raid and some other ones that they've kind of re-engineered a little bit. Like, I want to say Scar, I believe from BO1 or 2. But regardless of the point, I mean, the guns to come back like we're all used to, implementing the BO6 movement and allowing us to have wall jumps and stuff like that. It gives me a lot of good hope for what's to come in the future, right? You know, but
I think competitive is going to get
now,
crazy.
Oh, dude, there's going to be World Star clips left and right. Like,
Yeah.
I can already see it 100%, which we haven't already seen. So it's just going to be even more crazier.
Shotzi's already getting crazy.
Oh, yeah. That guy is insane when it comes to the competitive side and also his movement that people like to call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just hope that I don't get to log into a lobby with him in there.
I DC so quick, dude.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, just on the competitive side, like, I mean, there's going to be so much to come about. Like, you know, we're looking at it now, the guns, the maps. I feel like this year is going to be a really, really good COD, especially taking out that rotational aim assist that you can literally just plug in your controller and you're God, right? So it's going to take a lot of skill this year to be able to become a good player. And it's going to, you know, require a lot of practice and a lot of work to put into your craft and skill because, like I said, you can't just literally plug in your controller and be a god at this game. You have to actually put in the work. So I'm happy to see that. It's going to separate the good and the bad players, if I'm being completely honest.
No, that's facts. I mean, I've even noticed it myself. Like, you know, I only use DS4 Windows just because I still have my janky PS4 controller from when I first got my PlayStation back in 2018. Somehow I've had the same controller for almost over 7 years now. Make it make sense. But I've noticed that when I'm aiming, that it's not nearly as easy, and it's honestly been kind of refreshing, you know, especially because, you know, I've been playing Call of Duty Online consistently since BO1. You know, I didn't really have a 360 of my own until then, but I was familiar with World at War and MW2 through my brother because he would play, and I would try to play with him, but he's all like, nah, I don't want to do split screen. It's like, oh, whatever, dude. But like, it's just been really refreshing because one of the thing about the last like couple CODs is that, you know, you have no issues with aiming or anything like that, and it just, you feel like you're just effing everybody up, you know what I mean? And, you know, like, don't get me wrong, having that god complex is great, but it when you get hit, when you finally meet somebody who just puts you in the dirt and you have such an ego because of how much you've been slaying, like, you know, luckily I stay pretty humble, but one of my buddies this year already, he's bitching about how, oh, this COD's cooked. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, the multiplayer so far, it's been a lot more stable than BO6, I will say that. But let me tell you what, though, I'm a big campaign guy. I love playing the campaign first before I actually play multiplayer. I haven't been able to get into, like, I have not been able to play the campaign past the first mission. You get into the second mission, and I am so freaking lost as to what I gotta do because I'm not used to open world campaign. And so there's that. And also, too, the whole Menendez throwing machetes from the sky, you tripping balls kind of thing. I can't get into this year's campaign. Like, I really can't. Maybe one of these days if I decide, hey, I'm just gonna drink a lot and hope for the best, but I don't know. But, like, I don't know, did you get a chance to play the campaign, or did you get to take a look at it?
I'll be honest, I have not played the campaign, brother, in probably a long time. Let's just put it that way. It's not that I have anything against it. I just, getting into my older years and finally finding the competitive side of things a few years back, and to me, I haven't just found the urge to just log in and just play campaign only. You know, I come from an era where, yeah, that's where I started at with campaign, and then getting into multiplayer and, playing a lot of pub stomps and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hardcore S&D guy to this day. Like, you could find me if I'm not playing multiplayer as far as ranked or something, or in the discords and whatnot, you're gonna find me playing S&D.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I've been finding that more enjoyable lately, because that's pretty much how I started
Yeah.
when it came to all this stuff. So that's just, one thing that I really took advantage of growing up is, having all these friends and meeting all these communities and whatnot over my time of playing with online stuff, just pubs in general. That's where I kind of got into this realm of world, is getting into the discords, into the leagues, into the competitive side of things through networks and whatnot. So I'll always, remember my friends coming up and just having a six stack and just coming in and shit on all these kids that, think that they're good, or finding other clans that you have the same clan tag name and whatnot, and you're just like, oh shoot, like we got a lot of boys.
Clan Wars before it was Clan Wars. Hell yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how old I am, guys.
Oh geez. Well, if it makes you feel better, so you kind of have more of the competitive aspect. My upcoming in Call of Duty is kind of interesting, because I was, obviously my first Call of Duty where I had my own console and my own thing was Black Ops 1, and I love that game, but I was horrible because it was just starting off, and so I grinded the hell out of BO1. And then MW3 came out, and I was a pub stomper on that one for sure, like the UMP 45, just everything. And I don't know what it is about MW3, but I was a freaking sweat, dude. I think by the end of that game, in just 1 year, I ended up getting almost 40 days worth in game, because I was also that shitbag, kid that, I didn't really care about school. It's like, oh, why do I need to know the Pythagorean theorem in order to succeed in life? Like I was one of those kids. Like if I was born in the 50s, or if I was in high school in the 50s, I would have 100% been a greaser. Like I'm just that rebel type, mentality. But I ended up running into somebody on YouTube and changed my perspective forever on how much fun Call of Duty can be, and brought me from being this highly competitive sweat to a troll. I'm one of those guys. Right. And it was freaking straight up knives, Minnesota burns, and then going into Black Ops 2, it was Kazdev, the owner, or the original, or not original, but he was one of the owners, like the prolific owners of Team Caliber. And I just got into that whole mentality of like, going on hardcore search and destroy, on search, on BO2, EMPing and flashbang because it was the pick 10, EMP and flashbang my own team, get them to die because they shoot me, and friendly fire, whatever. And then like using C4s, like just everything that you could think of that is potentially trolly, like even going as far as knife running, tomahawk knife running, shotguns, camping in corners with riot shields, and like just the scum of the earth type gameplay. And oh dude, like that's why I love Search too, because Search is just one of those game modes that most people, even to this day, they keep their mics on, even though we live in a world of Discord and TeamSpeak and all this other crap. And let me tell you what, man, there's nothing more satisfying, especially now, because you can keep the same lobbies. Like every lobby doesn't quit anymore. They stay. So if you get a good stack and you don't piss them off enough to where they want to leave, you get that old school banter back and forth, man, and that stuff was addicting back then.
It reminds me of the old Modern Warfare days, of the whole lobbies where they're just crashing out on each other. Like, oh man, like those days, you can't forget them, man. It's just one of those. You get into the lobby, you play it, and then you're like, oh shoot, I can actually talk crap to these guys. Like, heck yeah. And then you just continue it on. And it's well satisfying now.
Yes, no, for sure. Like I haven't had a chance to play Zombies, but just looking at what Zombies was, like you have the UI is pretty bad from what I've seen for videos, and the campaign, like I said, the campaign's pretty much getting the 2010 Avatar: The Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Like, it just doesn't exist to me. but
Right.
but I'm really looking forward to ranked, and in particular, I'm looking forward to competitive just in general, because I know this is going to be a really good year. I mean, especially as a viewer too, because you have you have 2 majors that are happening overseas, which is really dope. Birmingham and Paris, I think it is Paris.
Yep.
But also too, like, you also have, like, I was talking to Crunchify, the commissioner of the XP League, for our first episode, and he hinted at a potential LAN for XP League happening in St. Louis, Missouri for BO7, and obviously Premier Circuit's going to be holding a bunch of stuff. I don't know about Urgent Fury. I know that they've kind of had some controversies regarding payouts and stuff, so I don't know if they're going to be hosting stuff, or if they are, what's going to happen with that. But online leagues as well. I mean, shoot, you're like a freaking mod for like the top 3 freaking leagues, I swear to God. Like,
Yeah.
you keep yourself busy, man.
Yeah, man. You know, coming from my day-to-day job of my career and everything, you know, I still find myself active within this side of things, just allocating, you know, specific, you know, times and keeping it, you know, restricted in a way to allow myself for extra freedom, right? So, I mean, I'm a family man. I got kids. I, you know, work a 9 to 5, if you want to call it that way, but it's really 7 to 7 at my time, which is Pacific. So,
Yeah.
you know, I put in a lot of hours and a lot of work, but I find myself in this functionality of keeping myself busy by, you know, adminning for, you know, when I started it off, I was adminning for 3 leagues. I did it for XP League. I did it for Elite Warfare Gaming. And I still do it for ZGL, which is Zoned Out Gaming League. I pretty much just found it to where, you know, I want to focus other things too. And so I've kind of restricted myself to 1 league, and I found myself just sticking with the Zoned Out Gaming League, which realistically gave me my first opportunity really as far as growth wise.
Yeah.
Not that the others haven't done that. I just found myself in a better situation over there, not only because my staff is also my staff in 07, but also just in general terms. Like, I feel like there's different, better, I should say more opportunities in that realm, you know, as far as allowing a true amateur scene, which there's no knock to XP or EWG, but that's just my feeling and my concept of things. And I'm very proud to be able to announce that I'm an admin for over there at Zoned Out Gaming League with Tricky, Rollo, Zelix, and all them. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. And to Crunchify's, you know, thing, we are also going to be looking into doing a LAN event here too.
Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing stuff about that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no details as far as yet, but that's definitely something that's been in the talks for, you know, a while now, just to kind of involve a little bit more into the amateur scene and allowing for a little bit more exposure and whatnot. You know, to Tricky's point, you know, he's with over there at Premier Circuit, and yeah, they got a bunch of stuff cooking up this year too. So
it's gonna be
super sick to be able to. Oh, dude, it's gonna be insane of how the amateur scene's gonna be this year, especially like you mentioned, those majors coming up within the competitive side of the pro leagues, like allowing the challenger scene to actually have exposure a little bit more than it has been the past couple of years. I think that's phenomenal, and giving people the opportunity to also grow itself too. So
yeah, and Challengers Elite is going to be a big thing too, you know. Like, I know that a lot of people are like, oh, we can't really get into the main COD circuit, but like, my thing is with Challengers Elite, like, if you get a good team, you know, like, if you're consistently getting top 8, top 6, you know, there's a high chance that you'll be able to get in that Challengers Elite, and it may not get as much exposure, I guess you could say, like, for a better word, as the regular CDL, but it's still crazy to think that, you know, your small organization, like, you know, someone as small as Veriphy, if we play our cards right and we happen to get a good team and we got everything going, and all of a sudden you find yourselves at Challengers Champs or whatever, you know, like, it's still something that's really cool to see, especially from the, you know, kind of wrapping back to the whole stepping stone thing. Nothing would make me more happy if I had a roster that was extremely successful in Call of Duty for BO7, but then I lost all of them to various professional teams in the CDL, but it's like a bittersweet thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to have to do that whole thing again and try to build it up from there. But at the same time, it's like, hey, that's my boy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really cool. So, but I mean, in terms of LAN opportunities, On the amateur side, I know EWG. They're like the EWGL. They're going to be hosting a LAN from. I don't know if they've released details, but just casual conversations with the league runners and like admins there, they're definitely eyeballing centers and whatnot. XP's eyeballing stuff, ZGL's eyeballing stuff, you know. At this point, I wouldn't be shocked if the COD Rec League or the Redline COD League were like, hey, boys, we're going to land too. You know, like, it's just...
I mean, yeah, there's opportunities, man, but I just, from an amateur side of things and like you mentioned, you know, I'm part of a 3-dimensional kind of the head of the dragons in my professional opinion, you know, to be able to say that, yeah, we're guaranteed to offer those, you know, special events, and to say that they can't, I'm not saying that they won't be able to do it, but I don't think that that'll happen anytime soon.
No, neither do I.
Just from a growth aspect, you know, but yeah, it's going to be cool, man. I'm very, very excited for this side of things, you know, going into this year, already with a lot of topics in our heads and things being mentioned, and it's just super cool to be able to see this kind of growth that we've had so far.
Yeah.
And I've only been in part of this for maybe 6 months now.
Oh,
in
really?
regards to like this side of things, yeah.
Yeah.
The admin side of things, I should say. But yeah, it's cool, man.
No, that's what's up though. But like, and I guess if you had to choose, if you were the owner, like if you were Tricky and you had to decide on East Coast, West Coast, or Midwest, like where would you personally hold a LAN if it was all your choice, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, if that's a cool answer, I feel like I can give. So I'd say the two places, in my opinion, I mean, yeah, I'm West Coast, so I'm California, so it's going to be long no matter what. I definitely think from a, you know, competitive side of things, you do Midwest, so anywhere from Texas to like, I don't know, Kansas or Chicago, those would be kind of cool places to go to, or even Tennessee. You know, because you're kind of in the middle of everything. So you're going to have guys coming from west, east, and, you know, sometimes even out of the country too. You never know.
Yeah.
So
I know C-Bus. I know Columbus gets a lot of people, especially Canadians too, like Canadian-based players, because of,
Columbus
you know,
wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Yeah. I know that TPC usually has, if they try to, at least. I know they did for BO6, but I think that they had a Columbus kickoff, and then they had a Vegas one. But yeah, I'll just like I would love to just see like if there's a random center in like the middle of not Alaska, but like just how funny it would be if you're just like in Montana, you know, like it's just some random town in Montana. That's just like, hey guys, this is where we're having our first LAN. It's like, what the hell? Like, you know, especially in the middle of winter too, like being from Upper Michigan, you know, the freaking winters in Montana can get just as brutal. And just imagine a bunch of city slickers from like SoCal or Texas that aren't familiar with large amounts of snow, just freaking, you know, like all over the place trying to get to the, oh my God, that'd be hilarious. But like the thing for me is like for casting specifically, I told myself that for BO7, I wanted to do one LAN. I wanted to go to an amateur LAN and kind of test my chops, I guess, as a caster, because for me, personally at least, when it comes to casting, I primarily only do online, and I don't really have a color commentator. So I normally, I do everything. Normally, when you have an actual league production, as you're familiar with, you have your casting talent, you have a producer, and then you have I can't remember what it's called, but it's the person that just runs the camera in the game. I can't remember what that's called.
Yeah, it's usually more of an analyticer.
Yeah.
It's however you say that. I think I said that right.
Analytical
that's
guy.
Usually
yeah.
who you. Yeah, there you go. So they're the ones kind of just giving you all the feeds. And
Observer.
So.
That's what it is.
Observer. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
I had to think about that for a second, but it's like a multiple man process, and so for me, because I don't have like a dedicated, because my schedule is so fucky everywhere, it's just insane. So it's like, basically, I do all the producing, I do the observing, and I do the casting. So, You know, I'm kind of like a one-man show. So being able to go to a LAN and just kind of have a production team that's responsible for everything and just kind of throw me in with another caster, you know, I'm pretty good at vibing with other people. So I told myself that as a personal thing, I wanted to be able to do one LAN. So if you need somebody, you know, but the big thing though is
boys, get at this guy.
Yeah, there we go.
This guy is a good commentator. I appreciate his comments all the time. Like, I've had him cast a couple of my teams, whether it was Synergy or 07, and it's a good watch because this man Yooper, he is something different.
I'm definitely built different.
But yeah, exactly. But in regards to just his way of, you know, shooting the shit, if you want to call it that way, he's very good at just, I don't know, he just brings a different perspective on things that is more freedom. You know, he's not afraid to say what he's got to say.
Yes, the amount of times.
I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate you for saying that. And, you know, it's a good thing, too, because when you mention that, the amount of times I have even dogged my own organization is unreal. Like, if my guys are playing...
Oh, you gotta do it, man.
Oh, my God, dude. There was one time, one of the players on a roster of mine for Veriphy, I think it was last year, he was like, hey, man, why'd you dog us? And I'm like, dude, you're playing like shit. Of course I'm going to call you out on it. I don't care if I have 50 people watching or even like 1 million people watching. I'm going to call, like, I always like to say that I'm very blunt. Like, I'll straight up talk about how I feel, even if the President of the United States was right in front of me. You know, if he was doing something that I didn't like he decided, oh, I'm just going to not dip my ranch and, you know, or my wing and ranch or something. Hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't care. Like, even if my players are playing like idiots, I'm going to call them idiots. And if they don't like it,
oh, yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I guess I could play you the world's smallest violin or something, or just get good, you know, but
let me just drink my coffee.
Yeah. But definitely, no, it's just going to be, it's also really cool too, just from casting, to kind of do one more thing with that before we move on. But like with casting in particular, there are so many casters out there, and it's even more opportunities. Insane. Like just with the XP, and I know that, I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen on the ZGL Discord in particular, but I know that with XP, just as an example, they have a list of approved casters. So like in most leagues, you can't have just your buddy be a caster because, you know, the amount of times that league admins, that I'm pretty sure you've heard, multiple of just like, hey man, that was an approved caster, I want the match, you know. Like, so
yep. Oh, absolutely.
But with XP, it's like they have like 20 different approved casters, and a lot of those casters are a part of other leagues as well, so it's just like, holy mackerel. But yeah, I mean, what I really like too, and to kind of go back to the ZGL in particular, I used to be a hardcore hater of the three, like the 3-tier system, I guess you could say. So like with the ZGL, if you guys don't know, the ZGL has 3 divisions, which I can't remember if it's 30 or 60 teams that you guys cap out at per division.
Yeah.
Or is it like 48?
So open, we've always kept it around 48 as a cap, well, or more. But that's usually what we get for signups each season, is about 48 in the open side.
Gotcha.
Masters, we're anywhere from 24 to 36, and then your elite, we got anywhere from, I'll just use a number, 12 to 16 usually. But there's always room for more, and that just means a bigger prize pool, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
So,
like, I used to be a hardcore hater on that system. I don't know why. I just felt like, throw them all in and just have them duke it out, you know. But as I've been thinking about it as time goes on, it is kind of nice, because obviously it's a higher buy-in too. So like, if I remember correctly with Elite, I think you guys do $100 for a team buy-in, or like ballpark estimate, it's about like $80 to $100. Quote me if I'm wrong, but when you have that higher buy-in, you tend to get more serious teams. Like, not many people are just gonna be like, you know what would be really fun? Piss away $100 when we're not even like bronze, like we're not even silvers in ranked. Let's go and play and get our shit smacked by Omit Academy or something. You know what I mean? Like, so
no, and absolutely.
So it kind of is like it's a way to make it so people don't be stupid, you know, I guess. But Have you guys ever thought about with the ZGL, with the Elite Division, doing like a mini league of its own where you have kind of like old school Call of Duty where you have the qualifiers and everything, and you have the people that are like the organizations that, like they go ahead and, you have like a mini league or something?
Yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying. I feel like I've brought that up before in the past, and I know it's been mentioned before too. I don't have any details other than that because we've never really we never really got into actually doing it. So it's been mentioned, it's been talked about. I think personally, I feel like it's a good move, but then again, that's a hard track to be able to do itself because it's still a league at the end of the day. But I understand your point that you're trying to say is, you have it where you're duking it out for however long, like it's an actual season within itself, other than just playing a league and you're not qualifying for it and whatnot. But I definitely hear what you're talking about because I feel like PPC actually started doing that, if I'm not mistaken, last title, or they kind of dabbled into it, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where I got the idea from.
Yeah. Well, I know the Exhale League.
It as like a conversation.
Yeah. Well, like the Exhale League, they tried it, and
yes, that's who it was.
That's
Exhale League. I forgot about them, man.
Yeah, they haven't. They only lasted for a couple seasons across BO6 and 7, but or not 7. MW3, but yeah, like the idea that his name escapes me, but I know who he is. It's been a while since I know.
Splatzy?
Huh?
You talking about XL League?
Yeah, who was the owner of that? Splatzy, that's what it was. I don't know why. I forget names, man. But he was talking to me about it, and like basically what it was, the idea that he had was he was gonna have a 12-man league that would play alongside the normal leagues, but it was gonna be like a point-based system like CDL, where they would pick like who's gonna play who. On any given week, and it would be like a 5-week qualifier, and then it would basically be like a minor tournament kind of thing. So it's basically going to be like a mini CDL, and to me, I was like, on pen and paper, this sounds like a great idea, but you know what turns it into a great idea to a horrible idea? Lack of manpower and tracking. Because,
like, that's where I feel like that's where it comes from primarily. You just mentioned it. The head on the top is the manpower, the tracking, the things like that. Like, yeah, it sounds all cool and dandy and whatnot, but to actually implement that kind of system, it takes a lot of, either patience or kind of testing and whatnot. And, sure, you can, make it accomplishable. Absolutely. Anything can be done as long as you put your mind to it. But at the same time, logistically, I just don't think it makes sense just yet. But that doesn't mean that there's never a possibility or a solution to fixing it, though. So, I think to your point, at some point, who knows, that could happen down the road, whether it's XP, EWG, or even ZGL, just to kind of implement something like that. I think that would be kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it would definitely be a lot of work, but it would be really cool. And quite honestly, though, too, like Call of Duty Esports, like, I'm not really too familiar with any other really game esports-wise. Like, I'm familiar with CS, a little bit with Apex, Counter-Strike. Like, it's not a hardcore knowledge, but like my thing is when it comes down to it, I feel like on an amateur level, Call of Duty is probably one of the most prolific video games out there. Like, it's extremely easy to get into in the sense that all you got to do is just learn the rules of the CDL and all these other leagues, get 3 of your homies together, you all play your positions, and then you just kind of go out and play. And there's so many different levels of leagues that exist out there. Not to mention too, you have the online tournament providers as well that are just one and done tournaments, like what Game Battles used to be. I know that there's other ones out there. I just can't remember the names off the top of my head because that shows how much or like CMG, whatever. But my thing is just with Call of Duty Esports, it's such an easy esport to get into. In that regard, so you have all levels of play across the board, and it's just really kind of cool to think about, because with Rocket League, I don't even think that there's like, if they exist, I've never seen them, or like even with Halo, there's maybe a couple of league providers, but for the most part, like you have to go through the stuff that the actual game makers, like the company that produced the game, has. Like, I know ESEA is with CS, and I know that can kind of be a gauntlet and a half, especially with hackers, but no, it's really cool with Call of Duty that even though it's kind of a game that a lot of people like to make fun of competitively, it's still a hell of a lot of fun to watch, and just kind of to be a part of that is really pretty cool. But we're getting towards the end of the podcast here, I guess. If you don't mind, I guess if you want to go into it without obviously not going anything that's public knowledge, I guess, or you want to be public knowledge. What do you guys got going on at 07 for both just in general and what you guys have planned for BO7 competitively?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that's not already mentioned. We're partnered with the Zoned Out Gaming League, so you're going to find us competing over there 100%. We got a couple teams cooking right now in the motions that we're speaking of at the moment, so that's what I'm super, super proud of, to be able to have at least, a couple teams heading into the first season of the launch. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, I find ourselves, I do want to get us into, some big tournaments down the road. I do want to see us evolving a little bit more than just, the amateur side of things at some point in the future. But just to, give it to some thought, yeah, it's definitely something that we're thinking of down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've already said before, we're big into player development. We have a super, super all-star in Safari, which if you don't know who that is, it's one of the original players for 07 when everything was forming at the time. And, he's been super grinding lately, especially towards the end of BO6 and heading into this COD that we're now in, which is BO7. And to see him thriving and putting his name out there, not only under his name, but our name as well under 07. It's super, super powerful, and we respect him very, very much.
Hell yeah. I love that.
He's definitely going to be on one of our teams. So you're going to see him repping the 07 banner even more. So yeah, I'm just super proud of him and what we've accomplished as an org over the late 2023 that, it was started originally. And from here on out, here we are in a big 2025, heading into the best COD, in my opinion, that's going to be happening. So I'm super proud of what we've accomplished over the time.
Yeah, not to mention 2026. So I like to do this to my wife. She's sitting behind me on the couch. She's probably not going to like this, but in case you didn't know, anybody born in the year 2004, as soon as the clock hits 2026, can legally buy alcohol. So if you're not feeling old now, now you do. Love you, babe.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she's flipping me off, but my fat ass covers the camera. But yeah, she's ranting. I can't hear her right now, so give her a sec. But in all honesty, with Verified, we're looking at just kind of continuing the content grind. Content across the board right now is very difficult in terms of just getting dedicated creators, because this is something I'm going to rant about just for a quick second. There's two kinds of content creators that exist out there. You have the part-time, or there's three. You have the part-timers that take it seriously, but they don't stream often, they don't upload often, in the sense that they only maybe do once or twice a week or once or twice a month. They put a lot of effort into their production quality. So that's what I consider part-timers, right? They're active on socials, but actually doing stuff, whatever. You have your full-time people that obviously make it their career. They're high-end guys. They're really hard to get if you're a small organization, unless you're willing to pay them money or whatever the case may be. But you got your full-time guys. Unfortunately, 90% of the content creators, air quotes on that you see, are people that consistently stream, but that's all they do is stream. They don't take their VODs, they break it down into clips, upload it into shorts, upload it on YouTube. If you want to consider yourself a creator, you need to be on all platforms, you need to be active on all platforms, and you need to be consistently uploading on all platforms. So to any potential content creators out there, literally here's the game plan to start, and it's the most simple thing you could possibly do. You don't need to stream for 8 to 10 hours a day. The only reason why big streamers do that is because they treat it like it's their job, because it is. But all you need to do, pick 3 to 4 days a week that you have a 2-hour window to stream, right? Whether it's in the morning, afternoon, evening, late at night, you got 2 hours that you can dedicate to streaming. Purchase a Canva subscription and make your own designs. You don't need a designer. You don't need anything fancy if you're starting out. $15 for Canva Pro. Bang. There you go. You can make your stuff. Stream for those 2 hours. Either download the VOD or use a service like metal.tv and just go ahead and break down the VOD and break it into clips. Within 2 hours, if you can't find at least 2 minutes worth of content that you can edit and turn into content, then I don't know what you're doing with yourself, because any game can be considered content. Anything can be made funny, anything, whatever. But that's what you do. You stream for those 2 hours, you take the clips from it, and then you set it aside, and then you put it into you can do old school commentary, whatever. The world's your oyster, but you don't, that's kind of like what you do from those 3 to 4 2-hour streams. That's how you get your weekly content out of it. And then you can upload on YouTube, you know, Kick, whatever. But that's my little rant. That's my mini rant for the day is don't call yourself a content creator if you're not going to actually do it. If all you're going to do is stream, you're not a content creator. You're just a streamer. So my rant for the day. But otherwise,
no, I think that's
pretty fair, right?
That's a very, very good point. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hit the head on the nail for sure. Like, absolutely, there's differences between creators and content guys, because you got guys that just actually have to do this as a job because that's what they're born to do, and then you got guys that just want to stream and just have aura off of it, if you want to call it that.
It's more of a hobby than it is actually trying to like do it.
Yeah, they're just doing it for fun because why not? They got the extra money. Let's go spend it on a cam. Let's go spend it on a good PC. Like, yeah, it's just I think you definitely hit that nail really, really good.
Because I've been having a hard time with finding creators.
Oh, dude, you get these guys that just like, oh yeah, I could do content for you, and then you don't hear from them again.
Or
that's the sad part of it.
Or if you do, it's like you're having to, like, I don't mind coaching obviously, but if you have to tell somebody 15 times, hey, this is what we're looking for, this is what I can do to help you, let's get it done, and you're just kind of on that broken record, you're just like, like I want to help you, but I'm losing my mind. But no, right now we got some pretty good creators under the brand. We only have a few. We don't have a lot. I'm hoping to expand that by the end of the year, but shout out the content team at Veriphy, because those guys are definitely they're not full time, but they're definitely part time. But they're pretty. One of them, Eclair Donut. She's kind of an interesting one to me because she's a VTuber, and I personally like. I'm old, I guess, but like VTuber stuff in general to me is really interesting. Like, it's really kind of a cool concept because like it's like magic. Like, how the hell when you move or talk that your VTuber moves and talks? Like, that's some freaking cinema style magic to me, dude. Like, I don't know, like algorithms, like I don't know, it's probably really simple to do, but it blows my mind every time I see a VTuber. I'm like, holy shit, dude, like how I like your words, magic man, like holy crap. But but no, but we're gonna be doing content and stuff, and we're doing esports. We got the Veriphy Podcast. We're doing our weekly uploads for a couple different things we're doing. So we're just kind of pushing forward, small time, just because the biggest thing about stuff too, especially for really anything in life, especially coming from me from a sales perspective, there's two kinds of ways you can do stuff online and just in general in life. You can either have short burst intensity, where you hyper focus on something for like 1 to 3 months, and then you just fall off for 6 to 7, even 8 or more. Or you have long-term consistency, where you're just consistently doing something, even if it's not a lot of stuff, but you're focusing your efforts on stuff over long terms of like long periods of time. And for me, I'm that kind of guy that I like that long-term consistency, so it's like, if there's any one last piece of advice before we send off, for the people watching or the people listening while my son wrestles my wife on the couch behind me, is be long-term consistent. Don't be a short burst intense person with anything in life, because long-term consistency is going to yield you a lot more success and a lot more happiness than just hyper focusing and doing everything you possibly can in that short period of time and then just fizzle out. You know what I mean? Do you have any other final thoughts before we send off for the night, Seymour?
No, I just want to I just want to shout out everyone that, has built me up in this point of my career and this admin side and this owner side of it. Shout out to Synergy, shout out to Volts, and who kind of brought me into this world. And, I just want to congratulate Rallo and Zelix for helping me build myself a little bit more, build my brand itself within our brand, if that makes sense. And
hell yeah.
To cap it off, just thank you to everyone who's been, patient with me and my knowledge that I'm trying to gain, and, allowing me to admin their teams and their matches, and, try to be the best person out there, because, you get good admins, you get bad admins, and I'm just trying to be that good person for everyone. Just trying to be equal, fair, make good calls. And at the end of the day, we just want to build our team itself as at the same time, like, just thank you to everyone. I'll just put it that way.
Hell yeah.
I could go on and on, but
no, I hear you there, dude. Like, I come from the Midwest, so the Midwest goodbye is strong with me. Like, I don't know if you can hear my wife in the background, but all the time, like, like I could make a 5-second goodbye last 30 minutes.
Oh yeah,
so,
100%.
It's one of the best things possible. But I'm really good at that. I don't mind it. But no, I appreciate you coming on. Definitely. If anybody from 07 or if Rallo ever wants to come on or whoever, obviously you guys are always welcome. I can build out the schedule and all that stuff. But to everybody else watching and listening, wherever you are at this point in time, appreciate you for being here. Like I said, we do these every Sunday. We stream it itself from 6 to 7 p.m. CST. And we also then, I download the VOD, edit it up a little bit, and then we post it to YouTube. So that way the VOD never goes away. But I appreciate it.